Hello everyone, so in this video I want to talk a little bit about the PvE aspect of the Lunarch adaptation from the PvP guide that I just made. So as many of you probably have seen, this is the PvP build that I have been using, right? I adapt things based on need. Uh, so for the PvE, I don't recommend actually playing the Lunarch because the Lunarch for PvE is really rough. You run out of mana very quickly. You don't have really a lot of consistent damage. You can do auto attacks with the Dagger, but it's really not efficient compared to a bunch of other classes like even Invocator or Fury or just like the Crucifix are gonna be like miles better. So what I recommend adapting if you're playing Dagger Orb right now is adapting to the Xbow Orb because it's gonna use a very similar build to what you have right now, or Orb 1, but I think the Xbow Orb is easier to adapt with the crit set that you have. So what you're gonna do is do this setup right now. You can use any of the tier 2, tier 3 crossbows that you have. You can see I don't even have this trader or anything really done on it. I just sync for the levels. And I can still manage to get top 1 to top 5 ranks on like any of the field boss and arc bosses. So it's really strong regardless. And most of your damage is going to come from the heavies combined with the passes, with the 90, 70, 70 that I told you, 50 strength, right? With this Blood Hunter set for extra 30% crit damage. So the only things that I changed a little bit were the accessories. I put this belt because I had dropped it, but it doesn't really matter too much what belt you put. I just put this on because it has a lot of raw status, but just put any that help you complete the status that you might need. I just changed the ring because the other ring gives hit chance, and that's basically it. So I put this on that gives a little bit more status and crit hit chance, but it doesn't really matter too much. On those two, I changed because what matters actually here to me was mana cost efficiency, because I feel like this build aids a lot of mana, and adding a few extra pieces that have mana cost efficient felt really good and helped out quite a bit with the build. You can do on the runes as well, on the yellow runes, you can put mana cost efficiency if you need, and you're probably gonna notice that the build clicks much better when you have really high mana cost efficiency. Right now I'm sitting on around 40% on this build, but if you fix up the runes and masters and everything, you probably can reach like 50 to 60% mana cost, or even more depending if you can get some other slots on some other items. But this works for me for now. So like I said, I don't really worry too much because the main thing here is the base status here, the blood set that you should already have from the PvP, and the rest you just adapt trying to fix status to reach the status that you need, which is again 50, 90, 70, 70. That's what you want to look for. Here I just put 80 because I was trying to get some more mana regen, but you can just adapt. And the other most important thing is gonna be your mana cost efficiency and your mana regen, but mostly the mana cost efficiency. And on the rooms, of course, you gotta adapt to boss magic heavy, boss critical magic critical attacks, right? So you're gonna have to adapt those. I don't change everything because I'm lazy, but if you really want to focus on the PvE aspect when you're gonna dork boss and everything, I highly recommend either making a set of accessories. There are folks on the PvE aspect, so you can just use those and don't need to worry about the runes, or swap them based on the need at the moment. So right before the arc boss, just go to your artifacts and change. Oh, sorry, to your runes and change for whatever you need. For example, here I could change to magic have attack, but I don't do it because I'm lazy. Okay, so this is the most important part, like I said. So status, blood hunter set, and mana cost efficiency. All right. Now that we got everything set here, what's the rotation? What's the skill set? I like to use this one. You can just check up here. And this is my current masteries. You can copy your everything here. Again, this is just a quick guide so how you can adapt. I'm not really that into the PvE aspect of the game. I just made this so I can help on the PvE part of the trials and field bosses and guild boss and whatever, but I'm not min-max on it. If you want to look for something that is way more min-max on this aspect of the game, I recommend you checking Grubs or Aragon videos. They are usually more focused on like min-maxing the PvE aspect as well. So if you want like a really good guide, I probably would look for them. This is just so you can adapt for your PvP Lunarch build. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna always need to turn on your Mother Nature protest, because this is gonna apply weaken with the selfless diffusion, and your stellar dash is gonna reset everything basically. So you always need to use this. Basically, this consumes mana just by doing basic attacks. So you can see by doing basic attacks, you're gonna start losing mana. Uh, and what I like to do is the combo prep. I like to use Restoring Constellation when I have time, because I use this with the cooldown, so every time I get hit, reduces the cooldown for all my skills, which helps a little bit. You want to open with Weak Point Shot if you have time, but the most important thing is the order of your skills here. So the first thing you want to do before the boss spawns is prep 3 balls. So you're going to prep 3 balls, right? And then you're gonna want to summon satellite, spread the satellite around your party, and then you're gonna want to selfless diffusion, and then start the process. You're gonna do all in this order: 3 balls, selfless diffusion, satellite. Sorry, spread the satellite, selfless diffusion right after this when the boss is active. Doesn't matter if you lose like 1 or 2 seconds. Just try to get the most value of selfless diffusion that you can, because that's your core damage. You can have selfless diffusion 24/7 if you have enough cooldown / attack speed to make your to proc your selfless diffusions. Plus, if there is a mark which comes from the bow, you're gonna be able to keep your selfless diffusion 24/7. So that's pretty. That's your highest damage possible. You always want to be playing with someone that has a bow in your party, and you always want to play with your full party so you can spread satellite to everyone and then do a bunch of lasers. So the other skills go something like this. You place 3 balls before the boss spawn, you buff, you spread the buff, the boss spawn, you're gonna selfless diffusion, weak shot, and then you're gonna start the combo. The combo here is pretty simple. I'm gonna explain a little bit. You can see just how it basically works. So the selfless diffusion now is over, and now you're on downtime. During this downtime, you don't really have much that you can do. You can just keep attacking, keep rocking your Restoration Constellation to get reduced cooldown when you get hit. You can use like fuel skills, for example, your Void Slash. You can swap the Temporal Leap if you don't want it. The only reason why I keep Temporal Leap is sometimes while the selfless diffusion is on downtime, I'm still trying to do some damage. So I'm still like doing attacks and everything. And sometimes my selfless diffusion is about to come up back again, so I use the temporal leap to restart my other skills. So when the selfless diffusion is back, I have all my cooldowns back to restart my rotation. Yeah, let me show you really slowly how it works. So the first thing you want to do, like I said, 3 balls, right? And spread the buff, and then you're gonna do selfless. So what you want to do now, you want to use Milkway, because it's gonna reset the duration of your spheres, and then you want to use your Stellar Dash for the damage. And this is going to keep resetting all your other skills, because it's going to keep proccing your Mother's Nature. So these are the 2 skills that are going to be wanting to spend the most for the damage. It's going to be your Stellar Dash and then your Milky Ways. This way your orb is not going to die. It's going to keep refreshing the duration. You're going to be doing extra damage with the damage boost, and you're going to keep doing a bunch of Stellar Dash non-stop. But you want to put 2 of extra keys in the middle, which are going to be the mana exchange, which is basically gonna change a little bit of your HP for more mana. This way you don't run out of mana all the time. And your detonation mark, which basically marks the enemy, and the more damage you do, the more damage it's gonna do when it explodes. So you always want to do this during the early rotation. My friend told me I should only use 2 detonation marks and focus on the main damage on the first number 1 and 2. I didn't test it, I just spam it to be honest, but you can do your own test. So what I like to do is just 3 balls. That sounds terrible, but yeah. Spread, boom, weak shot, selfless, and then you just start the rotation. So you want to just spend 1, 2, and the other skills when it's up. And you can see like the damage that you do is quite insane. So like I said, if you have a proper party setup with a bow and other orbs and other people spamming satellite and like other members that you can use the Stellar Dash together, this build is nutty. It can clear like trials really quick, can do any of the PvE content really quick. Right now it's probably the best. I know there's people exploring new things like the Fury class with Aragon and some other details that from this patch, but overall it's definitely one of the top PvE weapons in the game. So you can see even with my build that doesn't have traded weapons or optimal items or optimal status, everything on the line, I can still get like really good ranks and really high positions. That's why I recommend that you don't keep playing the Orb Dagger if you're gonna do the PvE part, just swap the Dagger for Xbow, or a wand if you have E.Tevent and other things and you wanna use that instead. But I think the Crossbow right now is miles better than anything else, and it's really easy to pull off, and any item's gonna work if you have the proper status sets and mana mana cost efficiency. But that's about it. I hope this video helps in case you're in doubt about like how to adapt your PvE part. It's mega easy and it's still very effective. You're gonna be doing damage, a lot more damage than people that are just focusing on PvE builds, which is really unfair, but it is what it is. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps. See ya.